Welcome to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Here's your host, Casey Bubba and Scott Bogman.
And welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Pre-Snap Podcast, brought to you by the wonderful people at LineStar Sports. Make sure you check them out on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL to get all the up-to-date news, stats, all the good stuff you need over there. And download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Everything you need in the palm of your hands to build your winning DFS lineups. You can find myself on Twitter at BDintric, and my co-host is always on Twitter at Bogman Sports. Scott Bogman, how are we doing, my friend?
I'm good. I have a guillotine league that I just narrowly survived in after this Monday Night Football game has come to a close. So excited about that. And look, the Steelers couldn't lose this weekend. So, and all three of us got our touchdowns. So
yes.
It's a pretty solid weekend, I would say.
Yeah, we riding dirty, as the kids say. It was good. It was real good. You want to talk about big fantasy wins. Most people don't care about our fantasy teams, but it was a rough week with the buys. And like I was rostering some guys didn't, because I also had like Devontae Parker and Sterling Shep. It just got worse and worse. So I was rostering some guys I didn't want to roster. Going into tonight on the Barf League, I was down like 35 points. Good old Alvin Kamara. You the man.
Yeah.
You the man.
Yeah, man. Kamara almost hosed me. Like, that was what I was worried about, is because I was up pretty big over the Welsh in the guillotine league, and he had that bye week apocalypse, just got him, and it was getting me too. And I was like, all I need is Kamara to not have one of those Christmas games, like the 6 touchdowns, 70, 80 points or whatever, and I should be good. And he definitely had a first half of that, but they calmed his ass down in the second half. So I was happy about that.
Everywhere. That was like the worst second half of football in a long time. Well, actually, as we recap the week of week 7, what you're here for.
A lot of missed field goals. Yeah.
Let's just get to one of the worst games of the week. We'll kick it off with Thursday Night Football. We had the Broncos go into Cleveland, 17-14 Browns in this one. Teddy Bridgewater, Case Keenum, everything you can imagine. But the biggest talking point, I'd say, is Dearness Johnson with a big week. We'll see where that goes. Chubb has been cleared to play this week, so it might be a one and done. But what's your take on that Thursday night? Beautiful, beautiful football game.
Yeah, look, I think it's probably one and done for Dearness, right? But I think if you are the Nick Chubb owner here, you probably need to keep him on your team for now. So, because Nick Chubb has been banged up a couple times already this year, and he's the one-to-one replacement. I think Felton is the guy that replaces Kamara. I've got Kamara on the brain that replaces Kareem Hunt, but Dearness Johnson is your more traditional between the tackles type of a runner, and it worked out for him in this game. Had a touchdown, almost went more than 150 total yards, and had the game-sealing run to get that first down. So this is an ugly game, though, Bub. I mean, no receiving options. I mean, at least Jarvis Landry was back up to 8 targets in his first game back on the Cleveland side. On the Denver side, Teddy Bridgewater should not have played in this game.
No.
And just yet another game, Bub, where they just completely abandoned the run. 12 attempts. Yep. So you're not going to get much done with that. And Sutton was okay. Everybody else was pretty bad. I mean, Javonte had a touchdown, but
Javonte and Melvin both had a receiving touchdown. It's
right.
Like, come on, guys.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do much else. They didn't get a bunch of yards. So just an ugly overall game. And this wasn't even one of the weather games.
No, it was not. We'll get to that one. That was a fun one. It's good when Bogman's texting me going, what is going on in California? But we'll get to that one shortly. We'll head to Sunday where we'll kick things off. Let's get this over with now. Falcons 30, Dolphins 28, just to make this a doozy. That Matt Ryan drives him down the field to kick the field goal to win it as time expires, because the Dolphins, give me that ounce of hope like usual, and just tear it away. Ryan throws for 336 and 2 touchdowns. Kyle Pitts is beasting out. We talked about that last week, so that was good to see. Cordero Patterson's the running back of choice, as Mike Davis is pretty much non-existent. On the Dolphins side, though, Tua, another big fantasy relevant game, 291 and 4 touchdowns with 2 picks. And then Gesicki and Waddle are just the go-to targets with Parker and stuff out. So at least it's a pretty narrow tree if you want to stack the Dolphins, who have been fantasy viable surprisingly of late.
I know, Bub, you're gonna be surprised when I say this, but I didn't get to watch a ton of this game. With Tua's 2 picks, were they ugly? Were they wide receiver based? Like, did you see them?
I didn't see them. I was reading stuff on them. It was pretty much just the same kind of dumb mistakes he's been making
Okay.
type things.
So
That's what I read. Could be wrong. People could
because
just get
outside of that,
angry. He looks
32 of
good.
40 for 4 touchdowns, pretty
Yeah.
solid day, right?
Yep.
And had them in position to win. There was a lot of fumbles on Atlanta's side here. But I mean, Mike Davis, I think the thing you take away from here, Mike Davis is done. Cordell Patterson is the starting running back.
But you can't drop him, can you?
You can drop him as
You
far
drop
as I'm
Mike Davis.
concerned.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, look, unless he's traded before the deadline somewhere else, they're just not
True.
using him anymore.
Yeah,
So
tough.
Kyle Pitts is a dude, has last 2 weeks in a row proved it. And now I think that's going to start to open up things for Calvin Ridley. So I'm not going to let anybody buy low on Calvin Ridley. If I'm rostering him, I'm going to go ahead and hold him. And then Myles Gaskin might be the most frustrating fantasy player because he'll go from 7 touches to 19. You know what I mean? So it's very frustrating to know what to do with him on a week-to-week basis. But this was a pretty good matchup. So not a ton to yank away from this game, I would say.
Yeah, it's just pretty much it's the Waddle Gesicki show. That's the best thing you can take away from this, especially with no Parker. They've been outstanding. And I guess also Russell Gage came back, got his targets. He could be a good guy we'll talk about towards the end of the show here. We talk waiver wires as a potential option down the road. Let's go to Green Bay. The uniforms are sick. Big fan of those throwbacks for Green Bay. Loving those.
Looked like Oregon uniforms.
They did a bit, but they were classy because they weren't Oregon. Green Bay 24-10 in this one. It started off with a bang right down the field. Devontae Adams finds the end zone, and then it just kind of got quiet. Rodgers. Yeah, no, he's on COVID list. Well, might miss Thursday night. Fun times. But Rodgers 274, 3 touchdowns. It was just a pretty boring game. Jones didn't do much. Alan Lazard had himself a game. And it's just a typical Packers win. They kind of controlled the whole game, but they didn't crush the whole game. This is what they do time and time again.
I hate this game because what it showed to me is Taylor Heineke is not your option at all. I didn't think he was anyway, but he looked pretty pitiful in this game. He ran a bunch because nobody was open. He fumbled twice. He threw a pick. Just a rough game for Heineke. So as soon as Fitzpatrick comes back, I think they go to him, which is also why you hear, Washington in quarterback rumors for potentially getting Tua in a 3-way deal or whoever, which I think wouldn't be the worst idea. They whiffed on Haskins. They tried to pick up Fitzpatrick. They're trying to go with Taylor Heineke. None of it's working here. Gibson is frustrating because he's just playing hurt. I think they should IR him for the minimum 3 weeks and let him come back after that to just heal up that shin a little bit, right? Because 3 weeks of no contact on it
would help
might
a
do
ton,
him.
you'd think.
Yeah, a lot. I don't know that it's going to matter for Washington in the long term this season anyway. It's not like they're going to the playoffs. But the Packers keep squeaking out these wins. They're another team that 100% completely abandoned the run because it was not working. But the thing is Washington is one of the worst teams in the NFL against defending the pass, and Aaron just carved them up. So sucks that you lose Devontae Adams, but I think Alan Lazard looking more like the second guy, way more than Cobb. So I think that is the biggest thing I pull away from this game going into Thursday is Lazard is going to be the man there. I think MVS might be eligible.
He might be back, and Tanya at least had a touchdown this week, so the weapons are there per se. And Devontae, if I haven't heard the news today, if he's vaccinated and he has 2 negative tests 24 hours apart, he can still play Thursday.
Yeah, that's what they said. They said he is vaccinated, so he's going to have to. Yeah, he's going to have to clear Tuesday and Wednesday to come back Thursday, or it might be Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, it's 2 in a row,
quick,
24 hours. Yeah, so it's asking a lot.
A lot, which is a shame because it should have been a great football game. And now that Devontae might not be there, that's just but is what it is. You want to know what else is a bad football game? Titans win 27-3 over the Chiefs. Pure domination from the get-go. Tannehill, he looked pretty solid, throwing for 270 and a score. Derrick Henry didn't have to do much later because they just dominated so early. AJ Brown, I'm gonna go start eating more Chipotle. Like, this dude's been beasting out for 2 weeks off this stuff. 8 catches for 133 and a score. And then the Chiefs look horrific right now. We keep talking about it each week, Bogman, and it's getting worse and worse. And this was a really bad one.
Yeah, and it puts you in a tough spot. I guess Patrick Mahomes is going to be able to play, but
Yeah,
I
say he's
just
fine. It's just a neck injury or something.
give me a break.
He
dude.
looked
That dude was
so
seeing
gone.
Tweety birds. Like,
Oh,
it's
they were trying to carry him out, and they could barely do that because he was so.
I
wobbly.
know. Like, how the hell can he get immediately past? Like, I don't understand any of that. That seems super shady to me, to be honest. Is him, immediately clearing. But if he's back in, you got to roll out your guys again because this is still one of the best offenses. The line is bad. So, but you know what? Mahomes is going to have to learn how to play behind a bad line because he's eaten so much of the salary cap that
Played at Texas Tech for so long. He should be fine.
they're not going to be able to afford to, go and pay offensive linemen. So they're going to have to do a really good job of scouting and finding guys to play on rookie contracts. And he's going to have to learn how to move a little bit more for his career moving forward with this team because they're going to pay Tyreek Hill. They're going to pay Travis Kelce and those big time defensive starters. They're going to have to pay those guys. So the line is going to be parsed together for a while for Kansas City. So this is something he's going to have to learn. And he looks bad right now. Not anything you can do about it because you got to roll him out there. You spent a high draft pick, but Welsh and I were talking about this on ITL. This week, you have the Chiefs against the Giants, and you have the Bengals going up against the Jets. Are you starting Patrick Mahomes or Joe Burrow?
I think you still start Mahomes. You just do it. I love Burrow. I just think that they run the ball a lot more. The way the Chiefs are playing so bad, they still might have to throw it more. So I'm going with the Chiefs in this one.
I'm rolling with Burrow.
I love Burrow.
I'm rolling with Burrow. Yeah, I'm rolling with him.
You know what the Chiefs should do? The Chiefs should just start Chad Henne this week and let Mahomes get healthy. Like, let him take a week off. That's what they should do.
I mean, they're not going to do that though. Like, when he said he can come back and play in that game, there's just no way that stuff's happening. So, look, the MVP might have played in this game too, and it ain't Mahomes, it's Derrick Henry.
He had more passing touchdowns than Mahomes.
He sure did, and 29 more carries, just running into the teeth of that defense. The dude is an absolute stud. It's incredible to see him, get this many carries and continue staying healthy, but he just does it every single week. And like you said, AJ Brown looks healthy, which is nice. I'm not done with Julio yet. I'm done with Allen Robinson. We'll get to him in a little bit, but I'm not done with Julio. Like, he hasn't been healthy this whole year. I think he came back a week before he should have. So I think he's going to be okay soon. Obviously, hamstrings can be tricky, and Julio's history makes people worried. But I do think that he'll be better down the stretch here. So I'm not giving up on Julio quite yet.
Yeah, he looked okay when he was running his deep routes on Sunday. It was more just kind of the defense is actually decent on him on his side of the field. But the Titans look good. They're getting healthier. Also, the Chiefs look really bad. So we'll see where that one keeps going this weekend. Let's go to Foxborough. The Patriots win 54-13 over the Jets. Mac Jones looks great, throwing for 302 scores. Damian Harris ran wild all over the Jets defense. We lost our boy. We lost Mr. Zach Wilson, but they just traded tonight for Mr. Elite himself, Joe Flacco, which doesn't matter one bit. No. But the Patriots just put a drubbing. Like, it didn't matter who. Taylor had a couple. It didn't matter who they put in the game. It was just pure domination.
Yeah, look, the Jets are bad. This is coming out of a bye week for the Jets too. Like, they should have been prepped up and ready to rock in this game. So this is bad for them, man. 1-5. Who did they beat? Who did the Jets beat? Was it Jacksonville?
Was it the Falcons?
It was the Falcons. You're right. 27. Yeah. No, they lost to the Falcons. They beat. That's the preseason. They beat the Titans 27-24.
That's right, in overtime or something.
Yeah. It was. Titans, I didn't go to OT, but yeah.
Titans, the team was like behind the Bengals for leading the AFC. Lost to the freaking Jets. Love football.
Yeah. That's any given Sunday, right? That's how it goes. But look, the Patriots just. They're not going to look this good on a week-to-week basis because Mac Jones, although he's the best rookie quarterback so far. What is that saying? You have Justin Fields looking like garbage. Trevor Lawrence playing for the worst team. The Jets might be the worst team. Zach Wilson is second as far as QBR goes. behind Mac Jones here. So it's just it's an ugly class so far. I think they're all going to be okay, but this is bad. And Joe Flacco or White or whoever starting is not going to be good for this offense. So there's not a lot to take out of that. I mean, you could probably still run out Michael Carter in a deeper league just because he's getting touches.
He's part of the passing game this past week because White couldn't throw it down the field.
Right. I mean, 9 targets, 8 catches, 67 yards. So hopefully they keep using him like that. Yeah. And then Corey Davis caught the touchdown, so you could still roll him out. Nobody else in New York has redeeming qualities, and Damian Harris is becoming a stud. I think Bolden is their new James White.
He is, 100%.
I'm going to spend some fab on him, and we'll talk about that later. But I'm not going out to pick up anybody else. No Kendrick Bournes or J.D. Taylors or anybody else.
Yeah, in deeper PPR leagues, I'm 100% with you on Bolden. It's definitely a play there. Let's stick in New York here. The Giants win 25-3 over the Panthers. This game was 5-3 at the half. It was one of the worst football games I've ever seen, but they get it done. Jones throws for 203 and a score. Booker finds the end zone as well. Slayton, Ingram, and Pettis have some nice games in the receiving. Nothing fancy, but they get the job done. They stuffed the sheet. Darnoldo's so bad he got benched, but they already say he's their guy. He'll be starting this week. Other than that, it was a rough go for the Panthers, who at one point were 3-0, and we thought they were the class of the NFC South, and now they're losing 25-3 to the Giants.
Yeah, man, it just and I like the matchup here between the Panthers D line and the Giants O line. It just doesn't matter when you have literally nothing on offense. Wide receivers are dropping passes. Sam Darnold's inaccurate. PJ Walker comes in, goes 3 for 14 and got sacked 3 times. So I really hate what Matt Rule is doing here. You trade for Sam Darnold. You give him that boost in confidence again that he needs after coming out of a miserable pit in the New York Jets with Adam Gase, right? So you give him a shot, and then you bench him because he has 3 bad games in a row. He started out real well too. So I didn't like how that all went down. But this is a different team when CMC's healthy, and they're going to get better. And the Giants, I mean, what do you pull away from this? All the wide receivers were hurt. They could all be back this week, but they could all not be back this week. So, if they're all down again, Slayton and Ingram are pretty good options. But if Kadarius Toney,
Pettis has got his last 2 games has been very, very important in the role with all the guys injured. He's had a decent target share in both games. I'm just going to
if Shepard and Golladay and Toney are all back,
it won't matter.
Yeah, there's nothing there for any of these guys. So
I think Shepard's the only guy I trust with everybody healthy.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
100%.
So Booker looked pretty good too. I mean, he didn't look great, but he had 17 touches, which is what we're looking for. And it looks like Saquon's going to miss this week and next week. So and then be back after that. So fingers crossed, that we don't have to start stupid Booker.
All right, the big boy game, the one I liked a lot this week. I expected the Ravens to score a little more, but the Bengals went in and just put a beat down on the Ravens, 41-17. Burrow saying, "Oh, the noise doesn't bother me there because SEC games are noisier than Baltimore," and these boys were having fun. These boys are getting swaggy. They deserved it too. He threw for 416 and 3 touchdowns. Mixon ran well and scored. P. Ryan ran and scored. Chase 8 for 201 and a touchdown. Uzomah 2 scores. It was beastly, an absolutely monstrous game. Hollywood Brown had a nice game in the receiving. Bateman wasn't bad, but the story for me is Mr. Chase is a monster, and Burrow. We keep saying it each week on these shows is getting healthier and healthier and more confident. He looked unstoppable on Sunday, and this Bengals team, as much as you don't want to admit it, looks darn scary right now.
Well, look, we lost to the Bengals too. The Bengals are good, So what I'll say is that what I really like about this game is exposing Baltimore's defense. And it just kind of showed, because I was a little worried about Marlon Humphrey being on Chase. So I said Higgins was going to have a big day. Well, Higgins had 15 targets.
Yeah.
Anthony Averett has given up. I guarantee you after this game, I haven't been able to look yet, but that he's going to be leading the league in yards given up, because this is pathetic here. 15 targets, and Chase dusted Humphrey a couple times. Uzomah pushed Marlon Humphrey off of him like he was nothing. So it was just a bad defensive effort overall by the Ravens here. And look, Lamar can't do it all by himself. You got to have somebody else running the ball here. And he had 12 rushes for 88 yards. The next highest attempts was Bell with 5, and he had 5 yards. 4 for 14 for Freeman. You bring Tyson back and give him 2 carries. These guys caught some balls out of the backfield, but 14 targets for Marquise Brown. You're only hitting him 5 times. Half for Bateman, 6 for 3, 7 and 3 for Mark Andrews. So they were really bad on offense, but the defense played worse. And I think a lot of that was just, the Bengals wearing them out because Baltimore had a better time of possession too. So it's not like their defense should have been whooped or anything. They just flat out got beat. So, just line them up and pass it on Baltimore, and they're going to get smoked.
Yeah, in one of my articles I wrote this week, I looked at that Baltimore D because I was recommending some Bengals players, and they played well. Like, people remember that game they had against the Chargers this past week or 2 weeks ago. But those early games, they were getting torched by good passing offenses. So there's definitely a recipe for success if the good teams show up, but we'll wait to see there. Let's head to Vegas. Vegas, baby. Raiders 33-22. And they just continue to do what Bogman said since they got a new coach. Carr throws for 323 and 2 scores. Kenyon Drake takes over after Jacobs leaves with an injury. Looks great. Renfro did his thing. Foster Moreau fills in for Waller beautifully. The only thing on the Eagles side for me is Hurts. Fantasy-wise is really good. Real life, we have questions. And Miles Sanders left with an ankle injury, and that's going to be troublesome.
Yeah, well, I think there's a lot to take away from this game, whereas some of the other ones were like, I don't know, the Giants, what do you do here? Everybody's hurt. So it's not like you're trusting things. For the Raiders, 31 of 34 for Derek Carr. And I think Gruden going, as much as he didn't want it to happen, and there was an interview with him and Strahan before the game and everything. And he was, talking about how he loves Gruden, and, obviously it doesn't mean he loves what he said. And obviously he was wrong in that, but, I think this is good for his career. Cause I assume, obviously I have no inside information, but I assume they're just going to pare down the playbook to what he likes. Cause Gruden is a puppet master. You have to run everything I like the way I like it and blah, blah, blah. Well, now that Carr has a little bit of freedom in an expansive offense, everyone has quarterbacks for Gruden has said that it's at sometimes a little overcomplicated, a little too complicated. His calls and checks and all that stuff, spider white 2 bananas and all that, so 31 to 34 is just incredible. Philly C isn't great, but it's middle of the road. It's not horrific or anything. So to just dust them like with that, and without your best playmaker, Darren Waller missed this game.
Moreau filled in great.
Moreau's a good receiving option.
Yeah, did very good there.
He's a good receiving option. But Renfro getting the most targets makes sense. Still a little frustrated that my guy Ruggs only got 4, but we'll take what we can get with Carr looking so great. On the Eagles side, I mean, who do you trust here? I guess it's Jalen Hurts because he's going to run. He had 61 rushing yards here. Miles Sanders got hurt. I really like Kenny Gainwell. And I like Boston Scott as far as, just waivers in deeper leagues, but I think your startable guys right now are Hurts, Goddard, and Smith. And if you can avoid starting a wide receiver here, I think or a running back for Philly, I think I would do it. But also, we all know how bad the running back situation is, especially with bye weeks and injuries. So Kenny Gainwell, a big pickup this week.
Yeah, Gainwell's a big one, especially because he was used heavily in the passing game. Where Bart Scott, I guess it's game flow because they like him kind of as the bruiser goal line. Like
Bart Scott can't wait. Boston.
Sorry for the Boston Scott. When you're a third string running back, you can't expect to remember all this stuff. But that's what I was noticing from that game. And then in Dallas Goedert, he stepped right back in with no Ertz there, and he ran a lot out of the slot, a lot all over the field. So I think I was actually thought they would have used him more in this game, but that's kind of the frustration I think I have when I watch the Philadelphia Eagles. Is it seems like Hurts is like one look and run. He's not like reading progressions enough. I think Goddard could have had a much bigger game if they would have like utilized an actual passing game. So
Ertz, I think, is going to be worth more than him now moving forward.
Probably, and we saw that in the game. We'll catch up with that one here in a couple, but he definitely had an impact on that one. Let's go to Los Angeles SoFi Stadium. Rams 28, Lions 19. Not the blowout we were expecting. The Lions, fake punts, onside kicks to make it interesting.
Onside kick and 2 fake punts that all worked, and
then he didn't go for it on 4th and 2 like twice at like midfield.
I don't understand.
Yeah, like come on. If you're gonna put it on the line over here, you got to put it on the line over here. Like, come on, dude. Like, what do you have to lose, Mr. PC
all or
principle?
nothing, man.
PC principle.
PC
come
principle.
on. Bottom line though, DeAndre Swift, monster in the receiving game, as we know. Raymond was the man this week. St. Brown was invincible, which was a real conundrum in this week 7 bye week, and I needed him in a bad way. But Kupp was a beast. Woods was okay. Van Jefferson. Stafford did his thing. Just wasn't the blowout we thought it would be.
Yeah. I tell you what, I'm a little worried for Jamal Williams. Yes, he ran well in this game, but he just was a battering ram. And it's just so obvious that Swift is the better running back. And I think Anthony Lynn, the OC, is figuring that out after gushing about Jamal Williams all throughout the offseason and how we have a 1A and a 1B. It's kind of like, when you see a Christian McCaffrey get out there, or you see a Derrick Henry. I'm not saying Swift is out level. Swift is a small dude. He probably is always going to need someone like Jamal Williams because he's never going to be that 30 carry type of guy. I don't think he's going to do what we saw Alvin Kamara do tonight. But, he had 21 touches and stayed upright and had a great game. So I think right around 20 touches is where you can shift for him. I think Raymond is their guy, but I didn't think about this yesterday when I was talking about it either, but St. Brown probably had Jalen, and that's a bad matchup for anybody. So
he got shut down.
So I think I still am going to write out just pretty much any wide receiver here, but Raymond is the guy if you're picking people up. Hawkinson had more targets at least, so that was nice to see. But on the Rams side, not much to take away here. Cooper Kupp is amazing. Robert Woods was back involved, which is nice. Darrell Henderson had a tough time running, and they've had a couple of those games. But Stafford was fine, and they do come away with the win, just not as big as we expected.
Arizona stays undefeated, 31-5 over the Texans. It was pure domination. Kyler had 3 touchdowns through the air. Edmonds on the ground, Connor on the ground. They split it out all over the field. Hopkins had 7 catches for 53 and a score. The defense made life a nightmare for Mills and company. Ty God should be back this week, though, which is good. He's activated, start practicing on Wednesday. That should help a little bit for fantasy, at least, maybe. But this was all Cardinals. Like, it felt like they were just kind of walking through a practice trying to get to the end of the game.
Yeah, dude. It was bad. The Texans are the worst team in the NFL. They're worse than Jacksonville. They're worse than anybody else. They're worse than the Jets. It's hard to watch right now. So, they shouldn't have won that game, man. They shouldn't have won that first game, because Detroit doesn't have a win. And they're going to have their pick of the litter, it seems. But, yeah, dude, the Cardinals are good. And we thought Chase Edmonds was going to be a little less used, which is why I took Connor. But he had more carries than Connor, but Connor still had that goal line carry. And like we said with Ertz, led them in receiving 3 for 66 and a touchdown. They didn't have to pass the ball that much, but him and AJ Green both had 66. Hopkins had 7 catches for 53 and a touchdown. They just set up with short fields too. So they didn't have a ton of yards, because Texas was punting all the time. The Texans were punting all the time. Zach Ertz, outside of the catches and the touchdown he had, and this is, his first game with the Cardinals, they also gave him a rushing attempt at the goal line. Now he fumbled it. So I don't know if they're going to give him another chance with that. But if they do give him another shot, that was pretty nice to see. So, not a lot to take away from a lopsided game here, but the Cardinals are solid. No shock to anybody.
I'm surprised they didn't give that rush attempt to JJ against his old team. That would have been too good. That would have been really good. Just to let him go take one to the house, that would have been awesome. But, all right, let's take the Tampa Bay, another blowout. The afternoon games had the high spreads, and they did not disappoint. The Buccaneers went 38-3. Just pure domination from start to finish. Brady only throws for 211, but throws 4 touchdowns. Gets over 600 in his career now. Fournette was good on the ground. Godwin 8 for 111 in a score. Evans 6 for 76. and 3 touchdowns. So no AB, no Gronk, pretty easy target share here. And then on the Bears side of it, Herbert looked good running the ball. Other than that, it wasn't a ton, Bugs.
Yeah, and I'm extremely disappointed in Justin Fields. 3 picks, 4 sacks.
He looked so flustered the entire game. It was
Yeah,
bad.
And 3 fumbles and he lost 2. I mean, just an abysmal game if you're Justin Fields, and a game that's so bad, in my opinion, that they need to go back to Dalton.
Yep, 100%.
And I can't believe I'm saying that. Something I never thought I would say. Maybe this is just a horrific game against the best team in the NFL in Tampa. I get it, but I don't think you can do it, man. He's not getting the ball.
Ready.
Allen Robinson has made some loser-ass quarterbacks look good, and they can't get him the ball here. So that's bad. The rushing game, like, even if you're sitting here going, okay, I got Herbert and he's been good, are they going to give him the ball 18 more times next week? I don't think they are, because Damian Williams was the guy ahead of him, and he just got back from the COVID list on Saturday. So it's not like he sat with a full week of practice and was rip-roaring ready to go. He came back on Saturday. They let him play on Sunday, but they gave him 4 touches. So you can't give him a lot when he hasn't been in practice the whole week. And, Leonard Fournette continues to be the man for Tampa Bay. Another 90 yards and a touchdown. So, you know what I think about that? I love myself some Lenny. So,
it's your boy.
Yeah, glad to see him going.
Sunday night football, monsoon football. The Colts win 30-18 in Santa Clara. Carson Wentz looked good, all things considered, with the weather. He looked pretty darn good. Jonathan Taylor ran wild. Pittman did his thing on the Niners side of it. Elijah Mitchell had a game. Debo had a game. So the fantasy relevant players got the job done for the most part. Other than that, it was a sloppy mess. And the fact they scored 48 combined points is amazing.
Yeah, everyone was hitting that under because the weather was coming in. But I think what people don't realize is the weather will make – yeah, it'll make a corner slip more often. They got to backpedal and stuff and stay in their route. It'll make them screw up more than it'll make the offense.
Well, that's what I forget the DB for the Colts. He said in the post game, he says, I don't know why in the second half they stopped doing the end rounds and stuff with Debo, because we couldn't catch our footing and they were torching us with it. They never ran one in the second half.
Was it Xavier Rhodes who said
Might have
that?
been. I can't remember who it was, but he said Debo was torching us with his misdirections and change of directions, and we couldn't stop him because of the weather, and they just stopped calling it.
Yeah. They gave they gave Ayuk a rush and Hasty and stuff, and just running a lot of motion will work in a game like that. But yeah, the Colts. I'll say this: Wentz looked 100% healthy, and I don't really think
he looked good.
I don't think he has for a while. So to see him, just tuck a couple and run in that scenario like he used to do was nice to see. You don't want to see him doing too much because we know what it's cost him before, but it worked out for him. Loved seeing Pittman kind of start to become the guy here, because I think that's definitely what they need in this offense. And Jonathan Taylor just continues to be a stud. It's time to be able, we can dance on the Trey Sermon truthers' graves now, right? Everyone who liked Eli Mitchell.
He's getting carries and touches over Trey Sermon. It's time to go bye-bye.
Right, exactly. So, and then Debo's moving to the upper tier of wide receivers in the NFL. So, no shock there.
He's a beast. So, yeah, that was the good thing. For an ugly football game, at least the fantasy guys did their thing. We couldn't say that about other games this week, but that one took place and checked the boxes for you. Unlike this one, Monday Night Football, Saints win 13-10 in probably one of the – it's not the worst football games I've seen, but just a completely horrific like, if it wasn't for Alvin Kamara, 20 carries for 51 yards, not great, but 10 catches for 128 and a score. DK Metcalf on the opening drive gets second drive for the Seahawks, an 84-yard touchdown. Other than that, it was basically invincible. It was a very, very bad football game. But both sides felt like they did not want to let either quarterback take control, and they were trying to see who would screw up first, is what it came down to.
Yeah, look, the Seahawks started just double bracketing Alvin Kamara on every play. So the dude had 30 touches and 179 yards and a touchdown. So just he's so hard to stop. And look, the Saints just need Michael Thomas to get back. They need another weapon bad. They really do, because Winston just is not surviving off of, throwing the ball only to Kamara because no one else is getting open downfield. He had 7 targets for Callaway. He had 3 catches, and Troutman got a little more involved, but not enough. Traquan Smith wasn't on the same page. We saw him just be missed on a couple passes. Yeah, and on the Seattle side, Geno is just rough to watch, man. 12 for 22. You're not going to have to play New Orleans every week, right? So you're going to get bailed out a little bit there. But Collins didn't have a lot of yards running into the teeth of the defense. Penny did basically nothing. Penny was worse than Collins. 6 rushes for 9 yards. I mean,
shocker.
And when Lockett goes dark like this, 2 for 12, him and Geno are not on the same page. Freddie Swain had more targets. So I think it's because he was running shorter routes, but you got the ball to, and by the way, why are you not getting the ball to DK Metcalf a little bit more than 2 times?
He has a big catch and doesn't see a target pretty much the rest of the game.
84-yard touchdown in the first quarter. He gets 1 other catch and 4 more targets.
Like you should be throwing a go route to him every 3 drives at least.
That
just throw it up.
Stuff that drives me nuts.
It's
about
like the
these
old,
NFL
the old Cardinals with Fitzgerald. How many times a game would they just throw one up and say, "Go get it, big guy"?
Yeah. Like he always had 12 targets every game.
Yeah.
So, it was a rough game to watch, like you said, and hopefully Seattle's going to get better with Geno, but I'm not going to expect it.
Thank God for the Manning cast. All right, everybody. Before we get to the waiver wire ads for your Week 8 action, reminding you all you can check out the LineStar pre-snap and on deck next year, but on their LineStar YouTube channel. So go check out that channel and give it a thumbs up and a subscribe. Would mean a lot to us. Comment, that would help as well. Or just give us a rate and review on iTunes if you're just a prick. You just listen straight to the ear holes. Go on with your day. No worries there. All right, everybody. Week 8 waiver wires. We only have 2 teams on bye this week, Ravens and the Raiders. So we have 15 games, 30 teams in action for you, which helps out a lot compared to last week. But when we look at the quarterback position, Bogman, you got guys like Ryan out there. Cousins is still available in 70%. Like quarterbacks, I kind of raised the bar on. Cousins is a beast. I think he needs to be owned more, but Tua's been fantasy relevant, Boggs. He's less than 50% right now.
Yeah, I mean, they play Buffalo though, coming off a bye week on the road.
Tricky.
So I don't want to mess with Tua. I like Carson Wentz against Tennessee.
Carson, yeah, it's a good one.
I like Trevor Lawrence against Seattle. I think Seattle's defense is rough. I mean, they did just do a pretty solid job against Jameis here, but Jameis is Jameis. So I like Wentz is probably my favorite. And Geno against Jacksonville. Geno's bad, but Jacksonville's defense is bad too. So
what about
those are guys I like.
What about Danny Dimes versus the Chiefs defense?
It's a good one too. You know what? That's a really good one.
That defense is so bad.
If you're rostering Mahomes, my point before we knew Mahomes was okay was that you could pick up Danny Dimes and start him over Mahomes if something would happen. True. Seems like we don't have to worry about that now, but that's an added thing if you're the Mahomes guy.
That's good strategy to their Bogman. That's why you're the smart ones. So you get paid the big bucks over there. I like that one quite a bit. Let's go to the running back position, which is ugly, like you said, time and time again, like Devontae Freeman. But do you trust Baltimore? Probably not. But you mentioned Kenneth Gainwell. He's only 22% owned in the Yahoo right now. That's going to skyrocket. Who else are you looking at this week?
Gainwell. I mentioned Boston Scott before, and Brandon Bolden are probably my top three with Gainwell way up there. If your roster is good and you're looking for a swing, that's when you take Boston Scott. If you're looking for a fill-in for bye weeks or injuries, Brandon Bolden. So those are the 3 for me. I mean, you could add David Johnson. Maybe he'll be better with Tyrod coming back, right?
No.
Maybe Mark Ingram too. Either one that you want. But there's not much else out there, man. It's pretty rough. Maybe Hasty.
The other guy I would mention, if you're like in a deeper league and you want to kind of roll the dice, if you're just desperate for someone to pulse, Samaje Perine's back, and he even Mixon's been banged up a lot, so that's a good guy if you have room to kind of keep. I don't wish injury, but Mixon finds his way to get hurt a lot, so Perine could be a guy.
Bengals.
Yeah, we saw him. We saw when they were beaten down last week. Perine still had like double-digit carries, found the end zone.
Yeah, they split with him and Mixon. So
I think they're trying to take care of Mixon. I think they're trying to take care of him, so which is smart. So we'll see how that plays out. Let's go to the wide receiver position now, which will be a loaded one as always. Like Hunter Renfrow still 49%. And that's just criminal, especially if Waller stayed out there on a bye this week, but something to keep in mind there. But, there's a lot of options. Tim Patrick's still there. I give T.Y. Hilton. I know he's out with an injury, but if he's healthy, he's going to get a lot of targets outside of Pittman there if you can stash. What are some other guys you're looking at this week?
Well, Alan Lazard, specifically, if Devontae Adams is down, he's only 4% rostered. They got the Cardinals, terrible secondary, and they should have to go point for point on a short week with them. So I like Lazard a little bit. Kadarius Toney is still 46%. So if he's healthy, going to pick up him. Same thing with Rondale Moore. We talked about Khalif Raymond, who's 3% rostered. Russell Gage is 10%, and things are going to start opening up for Gage because Pitts is going to get his catches now, and Calvin Ridley is going to get opened up as well. So those are the guys I like for this week. Van
Jefferson still 9%. He's the wide receiver 3 in that offense. So if it's one of those weeks you think they're going to go postal, the weeks they've gone big, heavy workloads, he's gotten his fair share. So he'd be another guy I'd put on your list if you're looking for a deeper league type move. Tight end position. Tight ends are always fun. We seem to be good at getting on them early, and then they kind of start disappearing on us, Boggs, which is good. That means you're doing something right. But this week, CJ Uzomah is still 19%. That dude is definitely a part of that offense, Bogman. So he'd be my number one. Mo Alley Cox is there. He's been a part, but I'd be getting some Uzomah if you need somebody.
Yeah, CJ Uzomah, and then Evan Ingram, 31% rostered because they got KC. I think is a decent one. There's not a lot else to like. You mentioned Mo Alley Cox, who, you know what his stat line is. It's 3 for 14. Is he getting that touchdown?
Yep.
If he gets that touchdown, okay, now you're sitting at 10 points. That's a pretty good day for a tight end. But it's a big question. He's never going to go 7 for 56 or anything, right? He's mainly a red zone dude. So Cole Kmet I like, but they just can't get the damn ball to him. Same thing with Gerald Everett with Geno. So yeah, it's pretty limited at tight end.
I'd say Pat Freiermuth's still out there. They seem to be getting him involved, coming off the bye. And then again, if you have room to stash, I'd staff Foster Moreau, because if Waller's still out, he's definitely going to fill that role. At least 80% of Waller or something. So somebody I'd look to stash also. All right, Bogman, that'll wrap us up. Week 7. Any closing thoughts on the Week 7 action?
Let's get to Week 8, man. That's what I want. I want to get to Week 8. I want to see the Steelers play a banged-up Browns team. Should be a very, very fun game, and I want to just get us 1 week closer to Saquon and Barkley being back.
And the Dolphins face the Bills, which means Josh
Saquon
Allen
and CMC. I think I said Saquon and Barkley.
Yeah,
but yeah.
That means Josh Allen gets like 50 fantasy points this week, so have fun with that one, people. But that'll wrap us up for your Week 7 recap. We'll be back with you guys on Thursday with your bets and picks, as always, for Week 8, and then on Friday with your main slate DFS preview. Make sure you check out LineStar on Twitter at LineStar app and at LineStar NFL, and download the app in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Everything you need to build your winning DFS lineups. Check out Bogman on Twitter at Bogman Sports. I am at BDendrick, and we'll catch you guys next time.
See ya.
Thanks for listening to Pre-Snap Podcast, presented by LineStar app. Please like, comment, subscribe, and rate for good karma in your